Jatam Sahagana Bhagavatam Bhutam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakam Vitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarusya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kalam Nasteva Gatiram Yatam. So we are reading from Dharma by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 13th chapter. So it is about Dashamula, 10 essential subjects of the Absolute Truth, Dashamula Tattva. So first, so Praman is there, the evidence from the scriptures, and what is established by the Praman, the evidence. So nine different kinds of truth are there. Pramey. So first the invocation verse is there, in which all the subject matters are explained in the first slok. And then the first slok was discussed. And in this he's explaining in regards to the Vedas, which are self-evident, self-manifest, and so by nature, of course, perfect and complete, and have been received through the disciplic succession, starting from Lord Brahma. So Vrajanath had asked a few questions in this regard. And he mentioned also about what is the necessity of Sampradaya. And then Babaji Maharaj was explaining that the knowledge is received through the Parampara, Sampradaya. And there's a quote also from Padma Purana that Sampradaya Vihina ye mantraste vipal mataha. Sometimes Nispal is mentioned also. For it has not received the mantra in the disciplic succession, then there's no use of that. And there's a mentioning of the Mayavad Sampradaya also, which is quite prominent. These days, even Mahaprabhu's times, even before that. So, of course, they also study the scriptures and they also give the mantras, specifically the Brahma Gayatri. So then one may question how it is not fruitful. So of course, the Mayavadis, they have a first level of spiritual understanding. And so they are knowledgeable and they're following sadachar, proper behavior also, in regards to Varnashram also. And that their aim is to merge in the Brahmajyoti. And they're well aware of the existence of the soul of themselves. But they say they are part of the impersonal aspect of the Absolute Truth and they will merge in that, which is not the complete understanding. But nevertheless, because they're following the Vedic scriptures to some extent, and they are having a strong sadhana, so there's also a result of the sadhana is there, and chanting the Brahma Gayatri. And they may go to the Brahmajyoti, but that is not desired by the Vaishnavas. So then also, he was asking about if all the acharyas are known in the Sampradaya. So Babaji is explaining that not all of them, and that is of course understandable, because otherwise it would fill a whole book to write down all the names of the acharyas. Therefore he has mentioned only the prominent ones I've mentioned. Further, he was also asking that besides the Vedas, so if there's any other Brahman evidence in regards to understanding the different subject matters. So Babaji was explaining some other evidence may be there, but ultimately the most important one is the Sapta Brahman, the Vedic knowledge. So, one question was, let's see here. That yes, the conditioned souls, so they have imperfect senses and they are subject to being illusioned and they make mistakes and the cheating propensity is there. So therefore, in regards to projection, direct experience, that is usually not fully accepted. So Brajanati wanted to know more about Brahma, Pramada, Vipralips and Kanadapatan. Kanadapatan. So Brahma, Babaji is saying, illusion is about the jiva's false impression of reality resulting from faulty knowledge gathered through imperfect senses. For example, in the desert, the rays of the sun sometimes produce a mirage, which creates the impression of water. This fault of making errors and mistakes is called pramada. since the material intelligence of the body jiva is by nature limited, mistakes are inevitably present in whatever Siddhanta his limited intelligence discerns in relation to the unlimited Paratattva. So the Bada Jivas, the conditioned souls in this world, because they are under the modes of material nature, they cannot on their own realize the absolute truth, which is beyond the modes of material nature, which is unlimited. Vipralipsa is a cheating propensity. This is manifest when one whose intelligence is limited by time and space is suspicious and reluctant to believe in the activities and authority of Vishwar, who is far beyond time and space. So one who does not have authority in the Lord, in the authority of the Lord, so it's very much influenced by this cheating propensity. So that is quite prevalent in this world. Unless one is in the mode of goodness, but those in the mode of passion, the ignorance, they are very much showing this cheating propensity. So for the devotees who are engaged in the service of the Lord, who are using a mode of goodness, so they are free from the cheating propensity. Our senses are imperfect and ineffective, and this is known as karana patava. Because of this, we cannot avoid making mistakes in everyday circumstances. For example, when we see an object, suddenly we may mistake it for something else and draw faulty conclusions. So this we can easily understand, that the senses are imperfect. And so optical illusions are there by seeing also. So we can see sometimes an object is quite far, but and then we may not really see what it is actually properly. Rajanath, do pratyaksha and other pramanas have no value at all as evidence? You need the fan? Fan?
No.
No? You can put maybe a number one. No, this is high. Other way. You need fan? You? Oh, she needs fan. Okay. You? You're okay? Yes, okay. So, Babaji, what means do we have to gain knowledge of this material sphere? Except through direct perception and other pramanas. So here in the material world, of course, so some direct perception is there. And of course different persons, they have different evidences for different things. So nonetheless, so he's explaining further, nonetheless they can never give knowledge about the spiritual world, Chit Jagat, for they cannot enter into it. Of course, they may have some vague ideas of the spiritual world, like scientists. They may have some idea beyond this, that something is there beyond this world, but only vague idea. So that is why the Vedas are certainly the one and only praman for gaining knowledge about the Chit Jagat. Other religions are there also, and they have some knowledge in regards to the spiritual world, but it is not complete. Whereas the Vedic knowledge, that is actually perfect and complete, so which is received through disciplic succession. So, for example, even Jesus Christ was giving knowledge, and he had some understanding, but seeing time, place and circumstances, so he was giving some knowledge to help some conditioned souls according to time, place and circumstances. So even in this world we can see that the teacher is qualified, and so he will give knowledge to the small children who are 6, 7 years old. So he's just giving basic knowledge. He has more knowledge, but he is giving basic knowledge because they cannot understand more. So whereas in the secondary school or the college, more knowledge is given, and more elaborate, and the student may learn in regards to many subject matters or many fields of knowledge, which is quite complete then. So for a lawyer, the law books are there, and of course sometimes some update is required, but basically the law books are there, and only sometimes there's some change made. And doctors also, they have the medical books and regarding science also. So different subject matters, because they've researched also. And that is handed down. So the teacher is there and is giving knowledge to the students, and then they also become teachers. Even in this world also we have this experience, even for ordinary knowledge, that usually you have to get the knowledge from an experienced person who has realized the subject matter, who has practiced. So similarly, in regards to the absolute truth, so different books are there, but most authoritative are the Vedic literatures. But then you need the expert teacher also who can explain. And various subject matters are there in regards to the absolute truth, and even the process for attaining the absolute truth. And even knowledge is there, varying knowledge in regards to this material world. For example, how to make buildings, Vastu Shastra, or in regards to medical science, also Ayurveda is there. In regards to astrology, Jyotish Shastra is there. So these are basically fields of knowledge in this world which are also necessary, so that one can live somewhat peaceful in this world. And basically then this knowledge is so beneficial, and so it is authoritative, and so there's not any subtraction or addition there. And usually the Vedic literatures, they are perfect and complete, and they are actually for all time, for all the time, this knowledge. So the Vedic literatures, they're actually also eternal. And when the material world is manifest, then the Vedic literatures, they are manifested. On this planet, they are manifested to some extent. And in the higher planets, they are manifested to a higher extent. Because in the higher planets, they live for a longer time and they are more intelligent. So they can have more information. So what important is to understand what is the essence of the Vedic literatures. And then, so the teacher, the spirit master, he will give the essence. Of course, even for the devotees, so not everyone is able to study all the Vedic literatures. And therefore they study the essence. And even there, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he presented the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and some other books by the Acharyas, like Upadeshamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Upanishad, for his disciples, for his followers, students, to learn and then make advancement in spiritual life. So whereas Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he has given, the Prabhupada spiritual master, our Prabhupada spiritual master, he has given some other books also from the Acharyas and recommended his disciples to study them also. And so basically, so we may understand the essence, so the knowledge is given. So therefore we're reading Jaiva Dharma also, which Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada gave to his disciples, recommended his disciples to read, to study. So this Jaiva Dharma, presented by his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And by reading Jaiva Dharma, we can get the essence of the Vedic literatures, the essence of Mahaprabhu's teachings actually, the Goswami's teachings. So it is nicely presented in this one book. So by reading this one book, so one can become Saragrahi Vaishnav. Saragrahi Vaishnav. So Sar means the essence, Grahi, accepting, Vaishnav. So that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned in one other book, Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. So the glorification of Navadvip Dham. And he has given another term, so he has recommended all the devotees to become Saragrahi Vaishnav or Vaishnavi. You can also sit up here, now there's room for her also.
No, there's
Oh, क्या हो गया? So then is also, he gave another term. You come here, come, yeah, either one. Okay. But it is not 9, so maybe somebody can start that. I have no idea how this works. Okay, fine, it's fine. So there is a Saragrahi Vaishnav, and then there is Bara, Dari, well, even you may say Vaishnav also. Bara, load, a load, Dari, Giridari, carrying a load. So, like we know the donkeys, they're carrying a load. But the donkey is a donkey, right? And so the master of the donkeys so he's giving something, or sometimes he's in front and then he's holding a carrot or something, and the donkey is going behind, or some straw or whatever. And he's carrying a heavy load. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that sometimes some Vaishnavas are there, the Prakrita Bhaktas, materialistic devotees, and they're also carrying some loads of some misconceptions of name, fame, glory. They want name, fame, or glory, or money and power. So that there is no advice to carry that load. But we should take the essence and then do our devotional service. And the Vaishnava is Vaishnav Lakshan, the symptom of the Vaishnava there. Mahaprabhu has mentioned, it is mentioned also in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarlata or Nishkapat Bhav, a Vaishnav Achar. So Vaishnava is simple in his thinking, in his behavior, in his living. Simple living, high thinking, Prabhupada used to say. The Nishkapat Bhav, so non-duplicious, so that is a Vaishnav. And so he has accepted the essence and is following that. So, yes, by engaging in devotional service, then just like anarthas are there, 4 kinds of anarthas. Anyone knows? 4 kinds of anarthas?
Sat, Trishna, Swarup, Brahman, Hridaya Daurbalyam, and Prad.
Very good. Sadhu, sadhu. So Sarup Brahma. Brahma illusion about Krishna Sarup, about our Sarup, about the process of devotional service. So that we have to learn. And by learning that, then we become purified in consciousness, and then yes, one is then able to advance in spiritual life, and then he becomes free from these imperfections. Like he will not have the cheating propensity. A neophyte devotee, he may still have the cheating propensity. And so he will make less mistakes. But of course it is mentioned by Krishna Bhagavad Gita, every endeavor is covered by some sort of fault, just like the fire is covered by smoke. So if you make a fire, because here you hardly make a fire, right? You make a fire sometimes? No. I do sometimes.
Village. Yeah, I also
in the
did.
village.
Yeah,
but not here, right?
yeah, they burn Kula Kachra.
Yeah. They burn Kula Kachra. Yeah, they do, yeah. Or some priests, they do a yagya.
Yeah.
Then sometimes then there's some smoke there. So similarly, one is engaged in some activity, so that every chance that some fault will may be there in this world, because that is the nature of this world. It is not perfect. Although from one point of view it is perfect and complete, because everything which is coming from the Lord is perfect and complete, but at the same time some discrepancies may be there. And then, so to err is human. To err is human, error. So the pure devotee, of course, or Krishna is never doing something wrong. But still, sometimes you can see in the past times, sometimes Krishna does something wrong. Sometimes. Because he's absorbed in the memories of Srimati Radharani. And then he becomes transcendently bewildered, mohit. So his mistakes are transcendental. And because so everything is coming from Krishna, so therefore these things are there in the spiritual world, but they are transcendental and they are pure and perfect and complete, whatever Krishna is doing. So Krishna is stealing. But stealing is not good, right? But Krishna is known as Makkan Chor. He's stealing butter. Navanita Choram. Praje Prasidam Navanita Choram. Kupangananam Chudukula Choram. Maneka Janmachida Papa Choram. Charagaganyam Purusham Namami. We offer obeisances to the greatest thief, that is Krishna. Navanita Choram. Navanita means Makkan, butter. He's stealing that. Kupangananam Chadukula Choram. So he's stealing the gopis' cloth. And unfortunately stealing also the anatas away from the devotees. If you surrender to Krishna, you're begging Krishna. Aneka Janmajit Papa Choram. See, Radhika Hridiyasya Choram. He's stealing the heart of Radharani. What is it? Navambuddha? Shamala Choram. He's taking the Ambuddha, Navambuddha, what is it? Shamalakanti Choram, yes. He's taking the clouds, the rain clouds complexion. Shamalakanti. So he's taking Radharani's heart, stealing Radharani's heart. So, but that is a transcendental activity, what he's doing. And he's stealing and he's not stealing. So, but in the past times it appears like he's doing something which is not right. So Krishna is a gopi, is to milk, he's supposed to milk the cows. But sometimes, so it happened one time that the gopis were there and he was looking at Radharani. And so instead of milking the cow, he was trying to milk the bull. So it is not possible. And all the gopis are laughing. So that is transcendental. Error is there. So similarly, even so, sometimes in this world it may appear to be that there is a fault there in the pure devotee also. But because they are transcendently situated, there is no fault there. That is explained also by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. There is explained that even the Ganges river is there, or the Jamuna river, and sometimes you see some foam and you see some bubbles there. So foam is not considered to be a pure thing. So the Ganges river or Jamuna river does not become contaminated by that. They are always pure. Even when somebody dies, they burn the body and they put the ashes inside the river. But the holy river does not get contaminated by that. But it is purifying the elements which are impure. So So similarly, the pure devotee also. So sometimes you maybe see some apparent fault maybe there in this body. Maybe not, he may not be able to walk properly, or maybe he may not be able to speak completely properly. But because he's engaged in pure devotional service, so that should not be seen. That should be overlooked. Just like the Ganges River is there, and you see apparently some impurities, but we should discard that and see the essence of the Ganges River is pure. Pure substance is there. So the pure devotee and the Lord, they are just like the pure devotee, so he's transcendently situated in the self, beyond this body, but being in this world, so the body is there, and then old age is there for the pure devotee. He's getting old, like Prabhupada you can see. So he was in old age. He went to the West when he was 69 years old. So already grey hair. And so he had a heart attack also. But still he went ahead and he was so successful. Unbelievable. And then even sometimes, so he may say something and then others may not understand. And sometimes some controversies are there. What to say? Like few times he addressed his female disciples as Prabhu. But we know Prabhu is for the male devotees, right? And for female would be Prabhuvi or Sadhu Sadhvi. And now sometimes you can see some female disciples of Prabhupada, they are addressing each other as Prabhu. How are you, Prabhu? You don't know?
No.
No? Yes. Very well, I've seen a few of them. Prabhu, how are you?
Actually,
And then they think it should be, everyone should be addressed. All the ladies should be addressed as Prabhu. Even some controversies are there. It is still there. Pranam. And then sometimes they think if you're not doing that you're not a bona fide follower of Prabhupada. And Mataji, of course, so we have full faith in Prabhupada and he's perfect and complete, but so sometimes due to different reasons he may address the women in this way. One obvious reason may be there that they want equal rights, even at Prabhupada's time. That started at Prabhupada's time. Equal rights. The ladies should be just like men. So then he must have addressed because of this reason. That I'm sure is one of the reasons. So he addressed as Prabhu. And then calling. He was saying also of course, Matrivat Paradare, Shu Paradravi Shulustravat. So, Sarvabhuteshu, what is it? Atmavat. So, Sarvabhuteshu Atmavat. Yapashati Panditaha. So, who is a Pandit, a learned person? Matrivat Paradareshu. Who is saying any woman besides his wife. Of course, if he is sannyasi, also he sees every woman as mother. So that he was also telling his disciples that they should address all the ladies as Mataji. Of course, at that time they were like same age, and that may be okay. So then devotees, they usually they feel that everyone should be addressed as Mataji. Even sometimes they call small girls Mataji, which is sometimes a little awkward. And even these things have become a little controversial in our society. But it is clear, those who are elder you call as Mataji. And there's a statement also in the scriptures. And you may call those of the same age as a sister. So, and some Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they will also say Didi. And if a small girl is there, you call her Putri or Lali, right? You don't call her Mataji. So, what to do? So even these things are sometimes discussed and it becomes controversial. So, but these are actually small things, and but then somebody's made and criticized Prabhupada because of that. And even some of his godbrothers and others, they will criticize Prabhupada. But we should see, and we understand that Prabhupada was empowered by Krishna, by Mahaprabhu to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And he did some magic. He did magic. He was not producing any gold like some magicians are doing by trick, but he made mlechas or yavanas, or even in India, those who were from lower class family, he made them devotees. So that is magic. And that we should see, and so many temples are established all over the world. So he did so much. So these things we should just overlook and with so much faith and love for Prabhupada, and we follow him completely. But sometimes things are presented and sometimes in not a proper way. So, and therefore some controversies are there, even in our society in this regard. Difficult situation, material world. So, but we should know what is the essence and what is most important. But as we go on, then we come to learn more, and then but then we see that different devotees are there with different opinions. So even in regards to Prabhupada's ideas, but then we have to try to respect everyone and different devotees' opinions. We have to respect, and so they may then serve Prabhupada or Krishna according to their understanding, and somebody will have a different angle or vision and understanding, and so that all should be respected as much as possible. So these things are there. So we should try to, one who is transcendently situated is beyond this Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa and Kanarvatava. Do Pratyaksha and other Pramanas have no value at all? Rajanath is asking. Babaji. Okay, so these things, besides the Vedic literatures, they cannot give complete knowledge of the spiritual realm. That is why the Vedas are certainly the one and only praman for gaining knowledge about the Chit Jagat. The evidence gained from Pratyaksha and other pramanas is only worth considering when it follows the guidelines of the self-evident Vedic knowledge. Otherwise, its evidence can be discarded. So even all the things which are there, evidence, ultimately it should be also connected to the Vedic literatures. That is the point. That is why the self-evident Vedas are the only evidence. Pratyaksha and other pramanas can also be accepted as evidence, but only if they are in pursuance of the Vedas. Brajana. Or literatures such as the Gita and the Bhagavatam not counted as praman. Babaji. The Bhagavad Gita is called an Upanishad Gita. An Upanishad, Gita Upanishad, because it is the Vani, instruction of Bhagavan. Hence the Gita is Veda. Similarly, Dashamula Tattva is also Bhagavad Vani, because it is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. So it is also Veda. Of course, because Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. So whatever he is saying, that is the absolute truth. That is perfect knowledge. Veda means knowledge of the absolute truth. So Dashamula Tattva, that is coming ultimately from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained in the first verse. Srimad Bhagavatam is the crash jewel of all the Pramanas because it is a compilation of the essence of the meaning of the Vedas. So Vedic literatures are there, and the essence of that is Vedanta. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of, or the purport, the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. The instructions of different Shastras are authoritative evidence only as long as they follow the Vedic knowledge. There are three types of Tantra Shastras: Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. So of these, the Pancharatra and so on are in the Sattvic group, and they are accepted as evidence because they expand the confidential meaning of the Vedas. So of course the Puranas, 18 Puranas are there, 6 are considered to be Sattvic, so 6 are considered actually Rajasic and 6 Tamasic, but that means actually because the Puranas, they are transcendental, but because they are giving some guidelines, some guidance, some instructions for those in the mode of Rajagun and Tamagun, sometimes they are addressed as Rajasic or Tamasic Shastras or Tantra. So Tantra Shastra. Brajana, there are many books in the Vedic line. Which of these may be accepted as evidence and which may not? Babaji. In the course of time, unscrupulous and untruthful personalities have interpolated many chapters, mandalas, sections and divisions, and mantras into the Vedas in order to fulfill various self-interests. So that is there sometimes, and therefore proper mention also, that is understood. We cannot change the Vedic literatures. Means we cannot add something, or we cannot subtract something. So therefore, even Prabhupada's disciple, there is another controversy there in our society, that some changes have been made in Prabhupada's books. So many devotees are, of course, they try to justify why. They were saying it is not the proper English. And they felt some mistakes are there, so they felt they need to change. Whereas other devotees are saying that we should not change the words of the Spirit Master. So anyhow, what to do? So that is the material world. So therefore sometimes also it is mentioned that the science, even Krishna is saying that sometimes this transcendental knowledge has become lost. And then sometimes the disciplic succession is broken. So because some of the disciples, they were not completely properly understanding the Spirit Master. So Sadhguru is rare, the pure devotee, transcendentally situated Spirit Master, Sat Guru. Sat, so that means is transcendently situated beyond the modes of material nature. And therefore, so he's not committing any mistake. So, but those who are not completely perfect, and they may make some mistake. And then there's some change there, or some knowledge is lost. So Sadhguru is rare and Sat Shishya is rare also. But then the Sat Shishya, the qualified disciple who is transcendently situated, then he may become Sadhguru. Of course, it doesn't mean that everyone will become Guru, but some they are. But those who are learned and knowledgeable, and then of course they are inspired by the Lord, and they may act as Spirit Master. Whereas some others may be there, they may just do their bhajan. So, and yes, even so, ladies, they can also become perfect and complete. Of course, even there's some controversy. So, ladies wanted to become sannyasini or Diksha Guru. So of course some exceptional cases are there, like Ganga Mata Goswamini, Hemalata Thakurani, Janavama. So they were also having disciples. So these are exceptional cases, and they were recognized as pure devotees, and they were inspired by the Lord to do so. So by good fortune we have come in contact with this Sampradaya, Gauri Vaishnava Sampradaya, and so we should try our best to make as much advancement as possible. And for this we have to be very humble, very tolerant, very respectful. And so we should be open-minded, we should be broad-minded. Sarvopari viniramatvam tatparvedi viniramaram Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruttamam. So we should be beyond any upadhi. You're Indian? You're Indian? You're Indian? Oh, you have Indian passport, right?
No, we don't have passport.
Oh, okay, but you have Aadhaar card.
Yes.
Okay, but you're spiritual, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to also sometimes say, like if somebody's, if you go on the airplane, okay, show your passport, your identity proof. You cannot say, hey, I'm spiritual. I'm not Indian. So some discrimination is to be there. You have to follow. Therefore, Prabhupada wanted to introduce Varna Ashram, that has to be there. And so, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. But then we have to also see that is there our Sarup Siddh Bhakti on the spiritual platform, we are eternal souls. But then we also in the form as a sadhaka. And then we cannot say that we are spirit soul, then we have to have some discrimination and then so man and woman, right? But we know we are spirit soul, but man and woman is there and there has to be some, then we have to follow etiquette and maryada and the rules and regulations of Vana Ashram. Otherwise some chaos will be there also. So that is there. Okay, Haribol, spirit soul. So here the point was that some unscrupulous, untruthful personalities, so they made some changes also in the Vedic literatures. Because of, in order to fulfill various self-interests. But sometimes also it is just due to some kind of ignorance it is there. And then so some mistake is there and is made. Those parts that were added at the later time are called prakshipta, interpolated parts. It is not that we should accept any and every Vedic text as reliable evidence. Those Vedic granthas, sacred books that the acharyas in the Sat Sampradaya have accepted as evidence are definitely Veda and are authoritative evidence, but we should reject literature or parts of literature that they have not recognized. So that is an important point. So therefore we should be under proper guidance of the acharya, the devotee who is experienced, who is Shastravid, Vedantavid, Siddhantavid, Rasa Tattvavid. And then we accept so what they say as evidence, as scriptures and other things we may not read. Prajanath, which Vedic granthas have the which Vedic, so Sat Sampradaya, again Sadguru, Sat Shishya, Sat Sampradaya. That is bona fide Guru, bona fide disciple, and bona fide Sampradaya. As we know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained at his time 13 Appa Sampradaya. They may accept Mahaprabhu, but they have some misunderstanding in their philosophy. Ola Bola, and then Sakibeki or whatever, I can't remember all the names. Gauranga Nagari, and so on, yeah. So Babaji, Isha Kena Kata Prashna Mundaka Mandukya Taitiriya Aitareya Chandogya Brihataranya Shvetashvatar. These 11 Sattvic Upanishad are accepted. And so are Gopal Upanishad, Nrsimha Tapani and some other Tapanis that are helpful in worship. The Acharyas have also accepted Brahmanas and Mandalas as Vedic literature, as long as they expand the Vedas following the guidance of the Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva. We receive all the Vedic literatures from the Acharyas and the Sat Sampradaya, so we can accept them as evidence from a bona fide source. Prajanath, is there any evidence in the Vedas to show that logic cannot enter into transcendental subject matter? Logic, Nyaya. So Nyaya Shastra is there also. Babaji, there are many famous statements in the Vedas such as Naisha Tarkena Matir Apaneya O Nachiketa. Whatever intelligence you have gained regarding Atma Tattva should not be destroyed by logic, Tarka. And the statements from Vedanta Sutra, such as Tarka Pratishtanat, arguments based on logic have no foundation and cannot be used to establish any conclusions about a conscious reality. Because the fact that someone establishes by logic and arguments today can be refuted tomorrow by someone who is more intelligent and qualified. Therefore, the process of argumentation is said to be unfounded and baseless. That is mentioned in Brahma Sutra. Furthermore, it is stated in Mahabharata, Achinta kalu yabhava natam starkena yojayet prakritibhya param yachcha tad achintyasya lakshanam. All transcendental tattvas are beyond material nature and are therefore inconceivable. Dry arguments are within the jurisdiction of material nature, so they can only be applied in mundane subject matters. They cannot even come close to transcendental tattvas, what to speak of grasping them. As far as inconceivable conceptions are concerned, the application of dry argument is undesirable and useless. Any question?
Gurudev, can you expand, for an example, this line, therefore the process of argumentation is said to be unfounded and baseless. So what happens when there are so many things in our scriptures? So while explaining, the speaker says that you can think with a logic that does this happens. I'm not able to remember example, but I have heard this. So हाँ, this like हर चीज़ के पीछे एक creator होते हैं. Every creator is that. So you, with this logic, you also understand that behind this creation of world, there is a creator.
Right.
So
yes, that is
how,
okay. That kind of logic is good.
So this is not, I'm not understanding this. This is that the process of argumentation, like how it is said that about the, because of fact that someone establishes by logic and argument. I'm not able to does this logic and argumentation have no place in
it
spiritual
has,
conversation?
but no, it has. That's why it is mentioned also before. He was asking Brajanath. So besides the Vedic literatures, anything else can be accepted as evidence? And then he was replying, yes, if it is in pursuance of the Vedic literature.
Means what is the meaning in
pursuance? Means following the Vedic understanding.
Okay.
So this is a perfect example you're giving here. Like we know there's a creator there. It is mentioned in the scriptures who created this material world. And now we can give the example, logical example, that well you can see everything which you see here as a creator. Like this here, there's a brain behind that, human brain. And then they have the machine, which is also under the supervision of the person, right? Somebody had made the idea of this thing, this mobile or whatever, and then they made it also. So one is there, the thinker who has the idea, and he got some people to make it also. So they have created anything in this world, this here, this kind of table or whatever, mirror, this thing here, the fan, the wall clock. There's all a creator behind, right? Somebody with some brain. Who invented the light bulb? The light bulb?
Albert Einstein.
Edison.
I forgot. I'm asking you because you're younger. You should know. No? You're going to school, right? Just recently.
Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison. Okay, right. So he invented the light bulb. So everything which you see here has a creator. Your bag here. Everything. The specs, right? The glasses. Everything has a creator. So what to speak of this material world? This, which is practically perfect and complete, better than anything in this world. So the Supreme Creator is there. From this you can understand. From this is a good logical example that everything is created in this world by a person, not by chance. Like, sometimes to destroy sometimes a building, they have a kind of bomb or something, explosives. And the bomb, it crashes down. There's a big bang. And Darwin's theory is there, right? Big Bang theory. There was a big bang, and then the material world manifested. But we have never seen. The American, they dropped at the end of the World War, in 1945, they dropped 2 bombs, atom bomb, in 2 places. And the names of the places? Hiroshima.
Nagasaki.
And what happened? Destruction. So if there's an explosion, then there's a destruction. So, but there is also man-made, this destruction. So even destruction is man-made. If for destruction you need somebody. And terrorists, they're blowing up the airplane sometimes. It happened or something. Put a bomb somewhere. Destruction. For creation you need somebody. For maintenance you need somebody. To maintain a building, you need somebody. And to destroy also you need somebody. So always a creator is behind. So that is good logic. So this can be used. That is so logic, which is in pursuance of the Vedic version. It is mentioned in Vedas, somebody may not believe. But then you can give the example, therefore it is there. Logic you can use.
Yeah, I
Okay.
actually understood it in a very better way. I understood that I used to have this question, but then that is like lot of logic Prabhupada gives, and it
Yes.
is very very
Good
easy.
examples.
Yeah, good examples.
Yeah,
like
oh yes,
yeah.
yes, it is right, yeah.
Yeah, even the first time when I read Prabhupada books, I was very amazed by it. But then, that is was my question. Was like material logics can be like used to explain which are if they follow in pursuance to
Right,
Vedic
right.
literatures.
If not, they cannot understand.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Okay, fine, good. And your other question?
Gurudev, what is the exact meaning of open-minded?
Open-minded.
There's the one.
There's narrow-minded and open-minded.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
So like, for example, you have seen horse. You have seen horses?
yes.
Usually they have something they put here.
Ah.
So the horse is not looking left and right. Because he has to go ahead, right?
Yes.
There's a horse race also. Even the horse and then carrying the person also.
Carriages.
Carriages also. Because the tendency is to look left and right, and then how he can go ahead nicely. And he has to go fast. The bull, he's going slow. If he's looking left and right, it doesn't matter so much. But the horse is going by high speed. And so he has to go straight. So if one is just looking here in front and not able to see left or right, so that is narrow-minded.
We got it.
Yeah.
Very clearly I got it. Ki which context that you had aligned this thing and given me the wonderful example. Thank you
Yes, Gurudev, it was wonderful example.
Example.
Really,
Yeah.
I didn't
Now we can
expect
correct.
it.
Now we can relate.
Yeah.
Very wonderful example. Gurudev. I didn't expect it that you would give such an answer.
Yeah, Krishna is inspiring me, right? Wonderful Krishna.
I was thinking because yesterday Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he gave very good class on Haridas Thakur and how Advaita Acharya ji
When Chokapur.
yeah, in
Juhu.
Juhu, it was
Maharaj
Juhu.
came to
Yeah,
Juhu,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, I heard that.
And beyond mundane and sectarian, and he was really like glorifying and he was putting stress on this point a lot. So I was thinking that
On which
how
point? To be open-minded.
yeah, but that we have to go beyond the mundane and like I thought that the pastime which he gave, stress was on this only. And he was also telling that you know stressing on this, that we have to understand that we are not this body, we are not
Right.
this mind, we are
Spirit
we are,
soul.
yeah, we are
Yeah.
spirit souls. And so many times due to various anarthas, we commit offenses,
Right,
and
right.
we are not
Open-minded.
really not open-minded.
Yeah.
Even if we say, it's so practically hard to follow, because now to we accept that Haridas Thakur is a great Vaishnava, but like the situation which was at that kind, like Maharaji was explaining that people don't even knew who a Vaishnava is. Similarly, like now also we don't know even who a Vaishnava is. And that time situation may be different, now situation may be different,
Yeah.
but the tendency is the same only.
Right.
So yeah, that is, I actually loved. I thought thought that you, Maharaji, yesterday, and you are like doing telepathy with each one another. Really.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful Vaishnav. Yeah, and he's broad-minded.
Yes.
Very broad-minded. You can
Yes.
see, like, in GV there's a place where the Vaishnava, departed Vaishnava's photos are there. He has a proper disciples, grand disciples, and there he has other Vaishnavas also, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because he's open-minded, he's broad-minded, he's respecting all Vaishnavas. Even in Braj, he's meeting many Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Ramesh Baba, so exalted personalities who are not in ISKCON, even though they may not be in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya also, but they are devotees of the Lord. And even Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, so that they explained on Vyasa Puja of Narayan Raj that. So Bhaktisiddhanta established that on Guru Purnima we should respect all the acharyas of all the sampradayas. We should respect Vyasadeva and his 4 disciples, although they are not Gaudiya Vaishnavas, right? Because they were before. Even they are not necessarily devotees of Krishna, but they have to be respected. Anyone who believes in God has to be respected. Therefore, we don't respect the Christians. We don't disrespect the Christians or the Muslims. Those who are bona fide, those who are properly following, those who are also open-minded, and there are also some open-minded Christians. The open-minded Muslims also, but they are a little rare. But some are there. You can find good people anywhere who are actually on the spiritual platform. If one is on the spiritual platform, then he will be open-minded. Because we are not this body. He will not relate to the body. I'm Hindu, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim. No, I'm spirit soul. That is Atma Tattva, the platform of the soul. That is the proper platform. And then you respect anyone. If one is not respecting others, he's actually on the bodily platform, mostly. So, that is narrow-minded. But even if one is on the bodily platform, some are still open-minded, whereas others are narrow-minded. But if one is really on the spiritual platform, then is bound to be open-minded. And respecting all, because he's seeing the soul, he's not seeing the body. That is there. Okay. Why is it Kanti Mama?
Gurudev, my mother doesn't allow.
She doesn't allow you to be Kanti Mama? Acha.
She doesn't even actually.
But maybe you can have, what you can do, you can get a fancy Kanti Mala. With silver.
Gurudev,
Silver and tulsi.
The thing is that I have not told my mother that I have left onion garlic.
Acha, you don't tell her. Acha.
I don't know how I am going on with my life. My parents don't. My mother doesn't even. She is very suspicious.
Acha.
And yeah, Gurudev, like once or twice she sometimes like forces me so much eat. She's suspicious.
Acha.
But still I am like, no, I am eating beetroot, I'm trying to be healthy, my
Acha.
mind is getting disturbed, and I give all this reason. But
Okay.
sometimes I have to eat, like she's
Hmm.
so much. So that is why and if I will wear, my other neighbors, they will, force my mother, she's wearing one. One day I just wore a chanting bag around my neck,
You have to
and
hide it also, the chanting
I don't.
bag.
I got so much scolding. Not even from my mother. My one neighbor came to my house. He scolded me like anything, and my mother will hear them. She is people conscious.
Acha. Lok vichar.
Yeah. She's very
Okay.
much people conscious.
Hmm.
If she will not have problem, but others will say, then she
She
will.
has a problem.
Yeah, she will
I think.
create the problem.
But you're just tolerating.
No, I'm not tolerating.
So,
But,
so what are you doing?
I feel that my mother is very nice also, because
Yeah, because she brought you up.
yes, and
Yes, so she's nice. You have
because
to respect
of
her.
her only I'm able to come
Right.
to
Yes.
so many
That is
temples,
good.
to
Yeah, you're a
meet
good
so
girl.
many Vaishnavas.
Good, nice. Yeah, that is true.
And she
You
also
always
lets,
have to respect.
she also lets me chant and
Oh, she lets you chant.
yeah,
Okay, that's good. Nice. On the clicker or on Japmala?
on Japmala.
On Japmala also. Acha, okay. Hmm. But you cannot convince her to say that the Kantimala is
No,
nothing
no.
wrong.
No.
But girls usually have some necklace or something, no?
Necklace. She will not allow.
You can maybe
I
try to
can
see if you
only-
can get you can get the silver chain with the tulsi beads. You can get in Vrindavan, maybe before, but in Vrindavan
Yes.
they have gold, gold and tulsi. Look, I got a nice necklace here. You don't even have to tell her that this is tulsi. Anyways, but at least you're chanting, that is most important. But at the same time, it's nice to have also. But yeah, you see time, place, circumstances. Okay, fine. Good. Wonderful. Anything else? Mm-hmm.
You mentioned about the book changes in Prabhupada's, the abridged edition.
Yeah.
So why is it that we don't follow the Macmillan edition then?
The what?
The Macmillan edition.
Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, the Macmillan. Yeah, I mean it should be. Yeah, but some changes have been made. So, of course, still, I think the essence is still there. Of the Bhagavad Gita is still there, the essence. Some changes were made and some devotees are
There's a website called Book Changes made
Yeah.
by Ritwik's actually.
by Ritviks. No, even others also who are not Ritviks. I know some proper disciples.
Yeah.
Oh.
His
They-
Holiness Subhag Swami Maharaj, he came last year,
Uh-huh.
so he was on the Vyasa.
And he was
But he
saying
was
very
like not giving, he was stressing so, like chastising as if everybody has done. So many times I have said this book changes are made. So I didn't knew him, but he was telling that was the first time I knew that book. This
Books
kind.
made-
I mean, I
made-
didn't knew, but I was just wondering what is Maharaj telling, and he was like literally chastising everybody.
Yeah. I know a few
Book
proper
changes.
disciples also. And so even there's a court case, it is still going on in Delhi in this regard. In regards to the BBT, Indian BBT must be, cannot be international. So there's a court case by devotees in this regard that it was not proper to do. So, but what to do? But I mean, basically, we can see that even some changes are not there, but the essence is practically still there. But they're not to change, unless there's some obvious grammatical mistake is there, it may be changed. And sometimes also it is difficult because sometimes even proper disciples, those who were there with Prabhupada, sometimes they were not understanding something, and sometimes they were not asking Prabhupada also if a mistake was there. So, anyhow. So some matter of concern is there, but again at the same time we should not be too much bothered by this, because the essence is still there pretty much, and so we just chant Hare Krishna and don't worry too much, and then we can advance. So at the same time some devotees though they have some concern, and then they're expressing their concern, and different devotees again they have different opinions. So but as much as possible best not to get too much involved and respect all Vaishnavas, but we should know what is the essence, and then we should try to follow that. And yes, and we should be broad-minded and respectful. So therefore Mahaprabhu said to be humble, tolerant, respectful, and chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Gurudev, like in this context only, I just got remembered that in Bhagavatam, the starting, Prabhupada has told this, that even though my grammatical mistakes, so he has given an example that if there is fire in somebody's house and he wants help, even though he will approach somebody, they will not know language, they will not know nothing, still he will, because there is fire there, so he'll be able to express that by his signs, by his everything, and the message will be sent to that particular person. So similarly, what I am writing this Bhagavatam, I am not able to like this is not perfectly grammatical,
Right.
or this.
There's a verse in
Yeah.
the Bhagavatam also which says
This is not. This might not be proper, but the thing which I am trying to give is the perfect.
perfect.
Yeah. So with this example, he related.
Right.
So I got remembered about that. Like he
Yeah.
very nicely has explained
Yeah.
it.
No, the verse is there in the first canto, 5th chapter. 2 verses are there in this. So one this verse which Prabhupada is quoting also many times, even though it is imperfectly composed, but because it is dealing with the absolute truth, it is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the verse, the Sanskrit verse is there in the Bhagavatam. And so similarly then what the Acharyas have commented, so there may be some kind of mistakes there, but in essence it is the absolute truth, and therefore it should be accepted. It is accepted by thoughtful man. So we have to be positive, thoughtful and positive. That is important. Fine. Okay, good. Anything else? Okay, Hare Krishna, I can stop it.